She fluent in that cash talk. Walk in the booth like Naomi on the catwalk. And tell them bitches whoop whoop from the Jaguar. It ain't even right though. Push me and I might go. She ain't getting money. I'm like, what the fuck the hype for? When them bitches bite flow, make my appetite go. Poof, gone, voila, magic. Looking mad good just to pull up on them rampant.
Welcome back to another episode of Unhinged and Immoral. I'm Mecca.
And I am Jamila.
Welcome. We have seen your comments and have attempted to fix my camera. I think what it was I had my shit really backed up, and then Melisa was like having to zoom in. So I tried to bring it more forward because I don't have issues with the quality when I be doing YouTube videos. So when someone was like, oh, like whoever to the mama who said it looked like I was on a FaceTime or whatever it was, I said, these are $500 cameras. Not too much.
We're going to make sure that quality is good. Yeah, my cameras are honestly right in front of me.
Okay. And I saw that when I was at your house. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, mine is not. Mine is like 4 feet away. Because I thought at one point in time that we were going to be like giving outfits, but this is not that type of podcast.
It's more so tops.
It's, you know, we're just we're anchors. So I did wear a Bad Bunny shirt. They said he got back with Kendall Jenner. So I actually wore this shirt because we're about to boil crawfish, and it might get crawfish juice on it. That's my protest.
I was gonna say that's crazy. That's always the one thing I miss about living in Texas. I always say like I don't think I'm gonna move back. I think
Atlanta's good for you. I see you.
Atlanta works for
really
me, but I
roots.
so desperately miss my crawfish boils, my good fresh seafood. You know, Atlanta is a landlocked country.
Well,
we are not close to the water at all, so we don't get that fresh seafood. And I do miss that as a a child of the coast.
Yeah, that's fun. I definitely, but learning to crack crawfish open it's a thing. We actually.
Are you sucking the head?
So I don't like the texture of the brain. I will bite it to get the juice out. But if you know about crawfish and you eat it, the yellow brain of the crawfish, the mustard, I don't like that texture. Like I be watching bitches suck that out. It's a texture thing.
Yeah.
It's a texture thing. I don't like that texture.
Yeah.
It makes me gag actually. So I avoid it at all costs, but I will if it's a juicy batch. Because some people steam, some people soak in juice. If I can bite into it and get that juice, I'll do that. But I try and avoid that.
I'm a sucker of heads for sure.
And mind you, I'm not even a texture person. That's how I know that texture is intense because
the texture is intense.
Yeah.
I'm not digging for gold. So for those of you out there who are interested in sucking some head of crawfish.
Okay. Or some, I might help you with something else.
Listen, what you do is you pinch the head and because you get all the juice and the flavor, maybe a little bit of bits, but you don't get all of the brains and the mustard. That's how you do that there. And then you just kind of, baby, I've been busting down.
No, what's crazy is once you figure it out, you've got it. Now, honestly, it was a culture shock coming from Maryland where I was busting crab legs open, which is a bigger return on your investment on the time that you're putting in cracking it open. You have like especially once you figure out a
big old piece
and
of
you can
meat.
bring it out and it don't break. And it's just like, oh, yes. And then you get to Texas. They got to Texas and it was like, I'm doing all this. And it was just like this tiny piece of meat. And it was very frustrating. My first year living in Texas, I didn't even really eat crawfish. I wasn't a fan because I was like, this is too much work. And then Ashley and I became really good friends. And she is crawfish down to the ground. I mean, she's just like crawfish season. We're eating crawfish every other day.
It's what we do.
Yeah. No, it's like a thing. Like, oh yeah, let's go buy 6 pounds of crawfish. Okay, well, so no lie, bro. We were at Sam's Boat in Pearland. And this old white man from Louisiana taught me how to crack crawfish. It was like something out of a movie cartoon. He had like he saw me like we're doing it at the bar, and Sam's is like a seafood restaurant, right? So we're all at the bar. We have this huge pile of crawfish, and he's watching me from literally across the bar. Now, mind you,
and I just know he was
getting irritated. No, but
you
know how when white people are eyeing you in Texas, that's like a bit concerning. It's not like, and so then again, we're sitting at the bar. At the outside bar, and he yells across, "What the hell are you doing?" He literally got up and he's made a spectacle of it. So now all the white people at the bar are looking and the black people because like, oh my God, what the hell is going? you're not doing it right, baby. You gotta. And he really
got the
he
twist.
really sat there. He said, okay, mind you, no one cares if he grabs a crawfish because it's a huge pile. So he literally he proceeds to show me how to crack crawfish. Like, it's a core Texas memory. God bless that man wherever he's at. I will say the 2 run-ins with old white men from Louisiana, for me, have been quite delightful. The other one I had in
them is different type of whites.
I could tell I was fucking with the
them
Cajuns. I was
fucking with the
Cajuns.
Very different.
Because him, and then when I went to go get my passport, this man who was from the backwoods had drove in because he lost his passport fishing and he needed a new one. And you know, Texas is like one of the main hubs where it's open all the time. So people will drive in and get it. And he was like, yeah, he was telling me all about it. He's like, I had to come all the way out here because I need to go fishing. And blah, 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 blah. And he was so nice and sweet. I was just like.
That's another thing that we don't do out here a lot in Atlanta is fish. Not even a lot at all. It's funny because I remember when I had first moved out here and just generally trying to make conversation with people and realizing that if you tell people you go fishing in Atlanta, they look at you like a country ass.
Where you gonna go fishing? Lake Lanier?
Some people do,
that
but
fish is
I wouldn't eat that. That is like radioactive fish. I would never eat no fish out of fucking Lake Lanier. But more, you know, a lot of people also fish just for sport and for fun. So it's like, I'm sure they do that.
As someone who's been in Atlanta so long, let's the Lake Lanier of it all. Let's pivot. How do you feel about people going out to Lake Lanier?
So if you've lived in Atlanta for more than 6 years, you've been to Lake Lanier. Like it's one of those things where you've been. We just don't go anymore. I've gone to Lake Lanier several times. I've gone to because there's a water park at Lake Lanier. So I've done that a couple of times. And then I've also been on the lake as well. It's not something I would do now because we know that Lake Lanier is extremely haunted. For those of y'all who don't know, a little bit of Lake Lanier, Atlanta history. It's not really in Atlanta. It's really like in Beaufort, but you know, same shit. So Lake Lanier, what it used to be was a town, a black town. And I'm not sure the exact year, but essentially they overly flooded on purpose to create a water reservoir for us so that we can have a water source. And so, but instead of like actually, you know, removing all of the things in the city, they kind of just filled the city up. So imagine, you know how Louisiana is below sea level. It's a bowl. If they just filled Louisiana up, not Louisiana, child, New Orleans. Imagine if they just filled New Orleans up.
When God had filled Katrina,
exactly.
New Orleans up.
So that's pretty much what Lake Lanier is. All of the houses, all of the things are still there. It's still under there, which is why it's super, super dangerous, which I never understood why people would swim in Lake Lanier. Now, that's something I have never done. That's nasty. But a lot of the white folks be swimming in Lake Lanier. And a lot of people don't make it when you get in that water because it's scary. There's a couple of, you know, suspicions on why. A lot of people, because it's a man-made lake, you know, the currents are unpredictable. But I always say them spirits are grabbing them legs, baby. Them spirits is taking you up under there. You ain't coming back. So, yeah. But nah, Lake Lanier is one of those things. We're going to go to Alatona.
I feel like, yeah, if you're really from Atlanta, and I'm not even from Atlanta, and I hear about Lake Lanier. I would never go swimming in Lake Lanier.
It's like damn near every year somebody dies. It's not
It's
funny,
not.
It's like, why do y'all keep...
It's not funny at all.
Going in that water.
Didn't Usher's stepson pass away at Lake Lanier, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I think so.
Like people really get up out of here in Lake Lanier. There was somebody who had maybe it was Left Eye, who had a near-death experience. It was like another celebrity who had something at Lake Lanier that I read. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, no. Lake Lanier is well known, especially in the Black community, I would think. Like whenever that's like a Twitter thing as well. When the hell y'all doing at Lake Lanier?
Why
y'all over there
at Lake Lanier? Why? And more specifically, like I said, why are you in the water? Because if you know, Lake Lanier it's not just the lake, it's a whole like area. So like you could, like people can go to Lake Lanier and do, like if you want to be like on the shore, like there's, usually you'll be fine if you go to the shore. Or like I said, the whole water park area, like that's completely different than the actual lake.
Yeah. You
going to Lake Lanier and getting your body wet in that body of water is insane. Like I said, I feel like that bitch is radioactive.
That's like,
y'all are crazy as fuck.
That's like the Sacramento River in Sacramento, and not because it's haunted or anything, but it is a river with really swift currents and people die every year. And it's something that like you can go to the river. I've been to the river like once in the whole time. And like literally when I was in high school, one of the boys we went to high school with drowned. Like during like fucking, like what is this, President's Day? Like during a weekend like this, like they went to the lake on Monday and he drowned. And
that's so
it was
scary.
sad as fuck. It was honestly traumatizing. And it was traumatizing because he was in my advisory class and his advisory class, last period was next to each other. So he was a year behind me. But I would see him every day because we would be walking into these classrooms. And it was like, what the fuck? Rest in peace, Johnny. Yeah. That was a big deal.
And it's crazy because I always tell people, like, I'm an excellent swimmer.
Yeah,
I learned how to swim.
But I'm not no match for the Sacramento goddamn River.
But there are certain bodies of water that the best swimmer couldn't beat. Baby, water is so strong.
Y'all be too pompous and not putting them damn life jackets on for real. Crazy as fuck.
Thank you. I can swim in a pool.
Yes.
Ain't no current in no pool. Yeah. You're not gonna catch me swimming in the goddamn Pacific.
I don't even want to go too far into the ocean if I'm not on a cruise boat that has enough lifeboats. I'll be honest. I'm not. I've seen what's in the ocean, and I do believe in mermaids. I'll be real with you.
I believe in so many. Do you know? Sidebar. Do you know Jelani almost got lost at sea and drowned in the middle of the ocean?
You can't just sidebar that. What the fuck happened?
We were at Destin, Florida, and we've gone to Destin so many times. So we're at Destin, and usually Destin, if y'all know, you know, Destin waters are usually very, very calm. It's a really beautiful beach in Florida. It's closer to Mobile, so that's why we went. Okay. So we went there, and we were having a good little time in Destin. And like I said, we're swimmers. Like, my whole family can swim. So us being in the ocean has never been a weird thought. Yeah. And he was younger too, so again, but we swim very well, so it's not anything crazy. And he had a boogie board. And what we used to do is kind of go out a little bit and then ride the wave to the shore. We would do the same thing every time we go to the beach. We do the same thing. So we're doing the same thing. But this day, the current was recirculating in a weird way. So as he was going, he was doing it a couple times. The next thing you know, the current was taking him backwards, and it just kept. Every time he would try, it would push him further and further back. I am not joking to y'all. At some point, we looked up. Jelani looked like a little dot. And it was the scariest thing we have ever experienced because we felt helpless. My dad went out there because, like I said, we are all excellent swimmers. My dad swam out there to get him. My dad got stuck. At the time, a family friend swam out there to try to get them as well. She got stuck because the current. You can't fight the current, no matter how good of a swimmer you are, no matter how strong you are. We had to call the lifeguard to go out there and on the paddle with the little thing. So he gets out there and he pulls them back in. But when I tell you, we were all quiet as fuck when they got back, just sitting there. Jelani was traumatized. I was so scared because you can tell when somebody's really scared. You could just see it on their face. They weren't even screaming out there. That's how you know they were scared as shit. They're like, let's save this wind.
I was gonna say, you can't scream in water. Water is the...
Yeah, and if it wasn't for that boogie board, baby, you'd be up out of there. Yeah. That boogie board saved all of their life because that's all they had. I'm talking about all you see is his head just floating, just bobbing like this, but just looking scared.
That's so stressful.
Yeah.
That happened to me a little bit when I went to Girl Scout camp. But we weren't on a boogie board. We were on one of them big floaters, or one of the girls, and me and her kept floating. We ended up getting back ourselves, but I do know what it's like to be floating out further and further from where you're supposed to be, and you just look. Mind you, I'm with her. I'm like, but what the hell we supposed to do? We supposed to just try and pet, and we were just slowly. And then, mind you, when the parents looked up and realized we were so far back, they start stressing. That can be, and I can imagine it's just simply being on a boogie board and being by yourself. Yeah. That is so fucking stressful.
Yeah, and I'm just standing on the beach shore because if my daddy can't get up there and get back, I for damn sure can't. So I'm just standing there watching stress. And I'm like, am I about to watch this happen? There was nothing we could do but watch it like this.
A car crash slowly and you can't do anything to stop it.
It was so scary.
No, I can only imagine.
We've learned our lesson. We stay right there at them ankles.
We're going to take a break.
And we're back.
We've only seen less than, I think, 15% of the ocean.
Yeah,
that's scary to me. And the way that people be wanting to see, God don't want us to see what's down there. That's why our bodies.
That's why them people imploded.
Hold up. I mean, you took, get out my brain because I was about to bring it up. I said, that is why our bodies cannot handle that pressure point. Mm-hmm. That is why they went down.
We're not supposed to be down there.
Because
they got tightened up like a booty hole.
Clenched.
I'm sorry. Every time
I'm sorry because that man was operating that shit with the game control. The only person I feel bad for is that son who was on there and he didn't want to go.
That's the only person I feel bad for. Because why would you bring your baby down?
No, because when you're trying to impress your motherfucking daddy, how that can be. He's the only one I feel bad for. All them grown ass, big ass white men, y'all knew better.
Y'all are so
And
crazy.
what's crazy?
And what are you trying to see the Titanic for when you can watch the movie? There's clips of the
What's his
Titanic,
name?
the actual Titanic in the movie.
Cameron, the man, James
James
Cameron already took his ass down there. Mind you,
Hello,
what
he
has
did
me-
all the work
mind
for
you,
us.
James Cameron was laughing at the niggas. I've watched several documentaries on it.
Yeah,
and
no,
James
that
Cameron
was-
had told them not to do it. James Cameron said,
I did.
as someone who
Been there,
did
done
that, you guys aren't doing it correctly. Please stop. I said,
And it was
mind
too
you,
late.
what has me crying, James Cameron didn't even sound like he felt bad or sad. He was just like, yeah, that was nonsense.
Everyone knows that James Cameron lost his fuck ass mind when he did the Titanic because of how much money he spent and all the crazy things that he did. Like, he was obsessed. And it's fun. Listen, you know Titanic is Jelani's favorite movie. Jelani can give you
Titanic was one of my special interests. Come on.
He can tell you every single
thing.
detail and fact about the real Titanic and that goddamn movie. But yeah, James Cameron was absolutely out of his goddamn mind. But it worked.
Because James Cameron,
that's the type of crazy I like.
I don't even be thinking motherfuckers is crazy. I be thinking what they say, everyone is autistic. He just had a special interest that he dove.
Everybody got a touch of that tism.
He just dove
for sure.
Listen, Titanic, Greek mythology, and Egypt, and then the circus. I mean, the early 1900s, 1800s circus. I'm just naming my special interests that I went through as children that I know a lot about. H.H. Holmes, who was a byproduct of the circus because he was, or not a circus, the World's Fair. That's what I meant. When we used to do the World's Fair, because he was a serial killer and he was operating at the World's Fair, so it was super easy. Another special interest of mine, the royals. And mind you, I used to be able to name all the presidents. That was like my talent. My mom would be places and be like, name all the presidents.
Do it. Do that thing.
Do your little dance. And I would be like,
do that thing you be doing.
I can't do it now. I can't do it with the damn now.
I'm crying.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm always super intrigued to learn about? Because it fascinates the shit out of me. Cults.
Yes. Every cult documentary is fascinating. Scientology.
Give me more.
David
Give me
Miscavige,
more.
you will crumble. You will crumble. We will find Shelly. We know she's not on Earth no more. We gonna get her.
When I tell you every cult documentary, it's so intriguing because the mind is just interesting to me in general, which is why I also like to learn about serial killers and things like that. Because I think that the mind is just so intriguing and so fucking
and how it can
diabolical
break from like traumatic
and how we don't know
experiences.
the way we don't know what's in our brain.
The way that science has advanced, and when they do these CT or these scans, honestly, from CTE, when you look at serial killers and football players, and they have the same shriveled up parts of the brain, their empathy, their
It's crazy.
it's insane. Back to the conversation.
whoa.
Do you want your son playing football?
No.
I mean, I live in Texas, so I know you guys don't give a fuck. But
I mean, it's pretty big out here. I feel like in southern states in general, it's big. I mean, Texas is on beast, but like, yeah, I don't give a damn how big it is. My son's not playing it.
maybe football.
He can play basketball.
Maybe
he
a
can play
baseball.
soccer. He can play baseball. He can do gymnastics, dance, tap. He can do anything but foot.
Well,
Not playing with that. I'm not playing with that. No.
you be letting them little babies
I
hit
don't
each other in the head at little tight
Mm-mm.
ass football.
I don't like that at all. I think it's the way that they be handling their bodies. I don't like
It's
that. That's my
scary.
baby.
I don't enjoy watching it.
I don't. It makes me cringe when I see them and then the sound of the clap.
No,
I'm
but that's like boxing
"Oh!"
too. I'm not.
Oh,
I
fuck
don't
no. Yeah,
like. I
boxing
don't
is a hell
actually
no, too.
enjoy watching boxing.
That's why Muhammad Ali's dead.
No, seriously. No.
That's why he got Parkinson's.
No. The thing about
and died.
like, if you got to look at these are our modern day gladiators. Like, there's something innately human about being fascinated by watching us tear each other apart. We're not fighting animals or swording each other down anymore. But like,
yeah,
I don't. I was I'm an empath. Like, watching men pulverize each other and bleed and swell. Oh, I don't like all that.
it's
I like this pump
like,
and sorry, I had to spit it a little bit. I had just gleeked. I got too excited. I was gonna say I like the pomp and circumstance of it all. Like, yeah, I want to go to the fight and wear my big ass fur and be fine, but I'm looking down the entire time. I don't want to watch
like,
that.
certain hits really like punch me in the coochie.
Like,
Like,
whoa!
oh, damn.
Why would you bite that man's ear off?
Shit. We should have known that nigga was fucking crazy then, cause nigga.
Yeah, if you bite your ear off, it makes sense that you would pull your dick out.
You know what I'm saying? And beat your wife.
Robin Givens, you are an icon. We speak your name. Yeah.
And I love you, and I always love
And your hair in boomerang has never been redone. It can't be redone.
And she got a solid face on her.
That's a face.
mean, talk about chisel. Talk about a bone.
Face. Robin Givens is the OG it girl. Love her down.
So
and speaking of hair, I always say this. I love in the 90s how like when we weren't so wrapped up in things being bone straight, we didn't mind being niggas. We're black.
Body.
That's
what we call body.
Like, I don't want my shit bone straight. I want it just straight enough that I can do these curls. But I'm black and this is a 4 texture, babes. Like, it's volume.
Exactly.
And I don't got to do all the teasing.
Great pivot. As you all know, I have made my transition into being a straight natural. A straight natural.
You go, okay, Kenya Moore. Because, I will give Kenya that. Now, mind you, her hair is a lot. Now you can tell.
She be having some.
No, she be having some pieces, but
she be having some.
No. I'm
just a couple.
I'm not saying.
And I'm not opposed to a couple.
I'm not opposed, but what I look at is the receipts. If you look at from the 30 years, it's been a consistent length.
Oh yeah, the follicles have always been intact.
There. Kenya has a lot of hair,
for sure,
and it grows, or she takes care of it, however you want to put that. But back in the 90s, it was very thick. It's still thick now, but that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You can tell as a society how we've gotten more concerned with how straight and flat our hair is getting. And I think that Kenya Moore is an excellent marker for that.
It's a whole thing. Now, for me, my hair, when it's straight, my hair follicles are just naturally thinner. You don't, it just is what it is. So I've been trying to, I want it to be more full. I love volume. So I'm trying to figure out what technique is going to work best for my hair because it is very thin. Now, again, I'm transitioning to being a straight natural. So my hair is not used to being straight. I'm sure I'm going to deal with a lot of reverting, but I'm trying to figure out which method of madness works best. So I did some heated curls, pinning them to see how much that would last. It did pretty well, but it didn't last because I was in humidity, which is cool. Last night I did some pin curls. That didn't really do shit, but it gave me a cute little bump on the ends. And I love a bump on the ends, but I need volume at the root.
I don't know if you remember when we were in college, and our hair is similar in terms of, and I wish I had hair like my mom. My mom has like the Robin Givens hair that when it's straight, it's so fucking thick. I don't have thick hair like that. My hair gets very flat once it's straight. But when we were in college, I didn't straighten my hair. I would get them big old, and not even the flexi rods. I'm talking about the grandma curlers. Do you remember I would curl my hair at nighttime and I would let it dry? And I didn't even have a blow dryer or nothing. And I would take the curls out and it would look like I had wanded it or did a big type of curl. I still have those pictures. That's like some of the best my hair has looked when I was doing that.
I would definitely try a blowout. The only thing is with a blowout, like you got to know your hair, baby. And my hair, when it is curly, it is very, very curly. I have very tight, curled, thick, curly hair. So when a blowout with just the rollers is not going to do
Jamila,
much
I didn't even have a blowout. Like I see what I would do is the one thing I know when my hair is wet, I can elongate it so it's straight.
It's not going to work.
Oh, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, because when my hair is wet and it's curly, it's too curly. I've tried that before. It's not going to work because it's not going to. It'll dry, but when I take it out, it's just going to be super super curly. So it's not going to give that blowout effect.
It takes a couple days. That's the thing. That is a slow.
I don't have that.
That's what I'm saying. That's a slow grind. But as someone who has got my hair straightened and done the curls versus that was the only thing that gave me the volume that I wanted without all the teasing, because my hair wasn't actually had heat on it. It's still at that root was a bit kink, so it could you had the straight and foot falling. Yeah, no, I understand. It's a lot of work.
I'm sure it usually starts to fluff up throughout the days, or as the press stops being as much silky, kind of starts to fluff up as a little bit of humidity kind of gets into it. So then it kind of, and I just love a little, like, I love like sex hair, like giving very much Pamela Anderson, like just
like a curl, like volume.
Like I just got roughed up.
That's so like extremes of things. Because remember, I wore the big fucking curly hair for so long, and now I'm bald headed, and I like being bald. But sometimes I really do want to get some volume back on my, like, the big curls.
I could never go bald.
I mean, fair. It's not for everyone.
I can't go bald.
Not everyone can pull
I don't
it off.
have the head, but I also don't have the face meat. So a
Face
lot of
meat is
people
crazy.
underestimate the face meat. I got way too much face meat on me to go bald. I have very big cheeks. I have a very round face. I have very big cheekbone, gush. I have a big ass face in general, right? Like all of my features are very big and very bold. And I know myself to know that if I was to get a baldy, I would look weird and I would hate it.
Okay.
Like it would not look good on me. Now, a bob is cute on me. I used to have a bob for a while and it's really cute on me. It's tea. But I'm in my long hair era. I want to see how long I can get this bitch. Like I'm in my yeah.
We're going to take a break.
And we're back.
So I know that we have managed to not get canceled at all this year until we were canceled yesterday for some shit that we were not even in.
Yes.
How do you feel about, I mean, there's so many sects of things going on TikTok right now. I don't even know where to dig in. And
so there was somebody commented under Tori. If you don't know Tori, her name on
it's Tori Greer.
Tori Greer on TikTok. She's made a whole bunch of videos about a whole bunch of things, but somebody commented, I guess because she's having a current situation with somebody.
Dedication is unmatched.
Yeah, the dedication is definitely there. But somebody commented and said something along the lines of, or made a video or something like that saying like, you would never come for Mecca or Jamila.
Saint made a video, who was another creator.
Oh, it was Saint.
A leftist creator, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think I'm familiar with
Okay, so Saint has been, we've already talked, like when the Beyonce of it all was happening, we went over this web, and this is a offshoot of that.
Oh, he was
in the mix of that.
So he was a part of that.
Yeah.
Conversation? Oh, okay,
so honestly, this whole thing is an offshoot of that conversation. I believe spurred on by Hannah going and getting the ticket. And I think that's what kind of started it. I could be wrong because I have been very lost. But that's what I think happened. I think Hannah made the video saying she went and got her Beyonce ticket, which people have their feelings about. Then that got the leftists revved up defending Hannah like y'all are doing too much, obviously. And then that got Tori revved up. And then Saint and Tori seemed to be the ones that were going directly at it. Saint has deleted the video because people were in the comments like, why are you bringing Mecca and Jamila up? Like, they're not in this. But he had made the...
I never seen that video. Like, I guess by the time I got to it, it was gone. But I saw what she was said.
It was just, it was very much like, okay, but that, you didn't need to bring them up. He basically was talking about how Tori knows who to try. Oh, no, the crutches and spice of it all. Imani. How am I missing Imani? Okay, I was like, no, there was a piece here.
I just didn't know if she was a part of
it because Imani made, and mind you, with the exception of Saint, I'm mutuals with all these people. So that's why I'm like, I'm not necessarily seeing this in order, but I'm seeing what I'm trying to put pieces together. So pause. This really started because of that was an offshoot piece that was brought in. But what was the real catalyst was Imani made a video talking about people laughing at children dying in Gaza. Again, something along those lines. People were saying, other Black people, because, it seems to be this divide of like Black leftists versus this other group of Black people that is like, we can't save everybody.
More so Democrats.
Like more so liberal Democrats. Like we're more so worried about I guess Americans. Like we're here in America, so that seems to be their argument. Then you have leftist Blacks who are worried about everybody umbrella. So Imani said people were laughing at children in Gaza. This side, Democrats come back and say, show us the receipt, show us the video, because apparently a bunch of leftists saw this video, but not everyone saw it, which would make sense given how TikTok works and what's on your For You page. Tori was one of the people who said, show us the receipt, show us the receipts. I believe the receipts have been shown now. Again, I haven't seen the video because that's not what my For You page said.
So I know where that came from. It was kind of hyperbole, not really. It was one of those things where, so basically what happened, again, this kind of goes back to the election. After the election results came, there were absolutely some creators who made videos kind of poking fun at the idea that Palestine was no longer going to be a thing. The caption, one specific video I do remember seeing directly with my own two eyes, she was using one of those sounds where it was just like, help me, and her like ignoring. And then the caption said, me when Palestine gets turned into a parking lot. And she was just like
and I've heard about that video, but I haven't seen that video.
I saw that video with my own two eyes. And there were a few videos like that as well that I saw where they were kind of using, they didn't say it directly, but they were using different sounds and saying like, oh, I'm going to basically say like, I don't care about what happens to Palestine now because y'all didn't, help us get confidence. So that is where that came from.
Has made a video about this. Remember we watched it when we were in Atlanta, or I watched it when we were at lunch, saying that just so everyone knows, Donald Trump is following the American plan. What is happening right now would have happened regardless of if Kamala had won. The issue, or not an issue, but the thing with Donald Trump is he's way more open with what the fuck he's doing and like unabashedly a dickhead about it. But this is the American exceptionalism of it all. It's just like the American presidential plan. So I think if you have all the information, saying it's someone's fault specifically because this is what happened to the American election is not necessarily correct. Do I think that because Donald Trump is so open and boisterous and negative and evil with his shit, it's going to bring a lot of other bad results that would not have happened had Kamala been elected? Well, yes. But the overall plan is what would have happened.
Right. So now we need to fast forward because we're getting too deep into the lore.
Well, the lore is necessary.
It is, but we can talk all. You know how we do.
Sorry, we were chastised this morning and told to keep it on the schedule.
We do need to get to the we need to bring it back to us, how it relates to us.
Amani,
so all of that,
hyperbole.
all of those things were happening, right? I.e., Tori was getting into it with other creators, blah 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 blah, right?
Okay.
Because of that, somebody made a statement saying that she picks and chooses who she would get into. She would never get into it with Mecca or Jamila. That's how that's how we got in it. Just that quick. Now see how I ain't even did. So that was happening. And then also there was a comment made by somebody who's now blocked. She said, yeah, well, we canceled Mecca and Jamila when they invited Tori on their podcast. I said, well, that was news to me. I didn't know we was canceled.
If anybody means anything, this means anything, when I posted that we had invited Han on the podcast as well, people weren't happy about that. So if we're going to get canceled, let us cancel us for all the things and our fairness.
We invited everybody involved. And I'll always say, we keep telling you, like, we're mutuals with most of the parties involved in all of these situations. And I think that's why we're able to sit back and be able to give more like, it's not even us trying to be Switzerland. We're being very much like, I can literally see both sides because I'm watching both sides and both sides are having very valid things to say. And y'all are not going to bully me into picking one over the other or doing this if I don't think that that's necessary. Because I think in these specific conversations, both sides are having very valid criticisms of each other. And I think they all need to be heard. So who am I to say one is better than the other or da-da-da? I think that all of the arguments are valid. Like, do y'all shit. Now, how the hell I get brought up? I don't know. What you mean I canceled?
But honestly, Jamila, it's only funny because what's happening, we've kind of talked about on here. And I think that even you have a lot of creators who, oh my God, I want to say them, but I can't think of their name right now, who are talking about saying what you're saying. Everyone has valid points, but critiquing both sides, like, and saying, here are your valid points and here is where you're wrong. Now, one thing that I think all this would not have happened and been drawn out the way it is something that everyone has been saying. You have, and I don't think this is all leftists, and this is why Jamila said she's a quiet leftist. You have leftists who are not realistic in, one, how they think things should be fixed, two, how they deliver that information to the average everyday person. And I do think a lot, I think that's valid. If I'm being honest, all of this is offshoots of the election. All of this is like,
I truly believe if Kamala won, we would have been having
the
different
Beyonce
arguments.
of it all.
We would have been arguing about other stuff.
It's all off the election. but it's all off of people being tired of folks talking to them like they're stupid. That, I mean, if you really listen to these arguments, that's what it comes down to.
Yes. I also, however, think that it's not necessarily valid for us to keep trying to make it seem like all leftists do that.
No, I
and
said that.
speak
I
down
said that
and
that's
condescendingly.
not all leftists.
I'm saying that's
And
the
that's
conversation that's
issue.
being had on
Yeah.
TikTok. And I'm like, okay, we can't be extremists and we cannot be in this way and try to make it seem like if you're a leftist, you are condescending. That statement can't just be the statement,
we know how TikTok
right?
works, though, in terms of pushing what's negative.
Right.
So
Exactly.
the condescending leftists are the leftists on your For You page. The chill ass left. I follow. A shout out to Mr. Haven. I follow the chill leftists, and they're also kikiing with y'all damn near in the not y'all who are being openly problematic, but they are kikiing like how you were like, I'm a silent leftist, like you just became a leftist, huh? They're doing that. Yeah.
And I think so if we're gonna have like the criticism of a lot of leftists being condescending, which I wholeheartedly agree, and that's always gonna be my biggest critique, is the intellectualism of it all being pushed more than the empathy. On the other side, as far as liberals and Democrats, I think that what's missing there, or the piece that's not connecting there, is the neoliberalism of it all, which is pushing capitalism to the front of your politics. Therefore, your empathy is also lacking.
Everyone's empathy is lacking. And if we're being honest, y'all are being really mean. Like mean. I mean, like,
and it's like y'all are not listening.
No. Everyone's being. It got really. It got gutter snipe. Okay, it got gutter. It was like watching. It was like, oh my god, oh my god, it got nasty. And honestly, not to sound like this, people could be like, oh, da. That's really why I didn't say. I was like, oh, this is actually going so far
and
past
I'm not getting
what we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You will notice I speak on certain things I'm gonna take you guys in my train of thought, my process, right? This is how I determine whether or not I'm going to speak on something. Can I make this funny?
Well,
and that is the only thing I ever say to myself. Can I make this funny? And do I have something to add that has not necessarily been added before? Because if you've already said my thoughts, I'm not going to say it. I am not an echo chamber. I'm not going to just say something that everybody else. If I've seen the same video 50 times, you're not going to see me do the same. I'm not going to be the 51st. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I feel like I can add a unique perspective or something that a new point of view that nobody has thought about and some humor, I'm going to do it. But if I feel like the conversation is beyond that point, I'm not going to speak on it, because at that point, I stopped giving a fuck, because y'all clearly don't give a fuck either, because y'all ain't even talking about the main issue. You talking about other shit that ain't got nothing to do with the main shit.
You know what? No. Let me say this. I think that I think we need to step back from labels. And before y'all jump me, I stepped back from labels years ago when that second round Biden ran, because I realized I have beliefs about leftist beliefs, and I have democratic beliefs, and I'm 1,000% resigned. And I understand, much like I know a lot of Democrats and leftists also understand, that I am one person right now, and I'm not saying that the world cannot be changed, but change is slow. If you follow history, we're watching pushback of Barack Obama being president. That's why we're in the pickle that we're in right now. Like, you cannot force a square into the circle box. And so with that being said, what is going to serve my interest right now in this exact moment as Mecca? I don't fault people for thinking along those lines. Now, I do understand that we have amazing people who are able to think outside of themselves, who are able to think about everyone all at once, but not everyone is able to do that. And I don't think that makes people bad. And I think a lot of times when we're having these conversations online, I don't think the average person thinks what happened in Palestine is okay. I don't think you're going to walk up to anyone and get the average person to say that genocide is okay. But I do think there are people not knowing where their next meal is going to come from. So they're worried about what they're going to eat today. And I think when you're talking to...
And there has to be some type of...
There has to be balance. And so when you're talking to those people, which are in a lot more vast numbers than you would give things credit for. Because just because they don't look like they're going through that, don't mean that's not what they're going through. I think that's what we're seeing erupt on the internet. And you cannot villainize people for trying to figure out where they like with the cake. Y'all mad at people for wanting to go get a $7 cake and not pay $100 for it. I understand. This is fucking up your business dynamic, but babes, we're all getting fucked by capitalism. So it's like,
and I argue it's not, because the people who were gonna buy a $7 cake versus a $100 cake were never your demographic in the first place.
That was gonna be my next point. It's really not disrupting your audience, because the people who are willing to pay $100 for a heart-shaped birthday cake are the people who care about things that the people, it's just y'all are not even having the same worries right now.
Exactly.
Y'all are not. And I just feel like that point is reflected in every argument going on, that people are trying to figure out when they're gonna eat.
Hello. There's a level of explosiveness that happens with certain political conversations. But I don't shy away from political conversations because they don't scare me, number one. But I'm also not opposed to changing my mind. Yeah. And I think that needs to be the perspective of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Even being the leftist of the left, you still have to be open to changing your mind about certain policies and things, because you have to be willing to be wrong and be willing to understand other people's perspectives and livelihood. Like, a lot of people who are Democrats, who are self-identifying liberals and Democrats, they think that they're community-based, but a lot of times they're not, because they're not also considering the poor white racist folks. And it's real hard. I told y'all
you said it before.
I told you.
Now, if you gonna wear that label, you got.
I told you.
And the way y'all did, mama, fuck around and find out who we found out was just a victim of a stereotype, child.
Hello?
She didn't even vote for Trump. She was just poor and white. She came out and said, whoa, guys, I'm one of y'all. Yeah. I just look a certain way and I'm poor and I'm white. I said,
and it got real.
Nasty.
And I'm going to take it a step further, because like I said, being somebody who wants to be on the left side of things and who wants to build community, all of those things, a leftist, if you will. I told y'all it's very difficult, because you are challenged constantly with your own contradictions. You are challenged with who you want to help with liberation. But I remember I told you the only way you're going to get liberation is if everybody's liberated, right? So let me challenge you right here. Even if she was a Trump supporter, it was wrong. And let me tell you why. The point is not so that you and your community can be good. It's the point is so that everybody can be good. The point of us looking at the irony of these Trump supporters getting their shit rocked is because we've been trying to tell you that even you who thinks that he's supporting you, he's not supporting you. Even you, the most racist cracker in the land, who has all of these things, all of these isms about him, who's sitting on Section 8 just the same as the next nigga around the corner, who's on food stamps just the same, who got WIC just the same. Y'all are not benefiting from these Republican ideologies. And so therefore, we also have to fight for them people. When you start thinking about that, it's going to rock your world.
That's why.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do. And I understand that. But if you do that, and if we have more thoughts about that, about how the person at the lowest point, the lowest marginalized people, once them people are free, it'll trickle up. Then we'll get somewhere. That trickle down shit do not work. But it's
Reagan.
Challenging. It's challenging, and I understand. But I think that's also an issue, and the differences, and that's why those two political ideologies clash, the Democrats and liberals versus the leftists. They clash because the Democrats and liberals are just trying to fight for the people who they think are fighting for them. And that's just, unfortunately, it's not always going to work. And it's going to bite you in the ass sometimes. And it's going to make you look like an asshole too. Because how you not going to fight for some poor folks just because they racist? I know. I've been there too.
Well, that's why I say I have leftist ideals, because I can tell you, if you don't want me to be alive, if you don't like me and what I got going and who I am, who God made me, you can suck my dick, okay? And I too believe that.
But that's more of and that's how I feel like socially. It's like I would never be in community with you. You can go to hell as far as I know. Mm. But at the end of the day, you deserve a meal.
Do you? So that's
human rights.
That's why I'm saying, maybe back up off them labels. Maybe you aren't as leftist as you think. Maybe you're just like me and you're like, well, I think everybody should be free. I think everybody does deserve to eat. But when you really start talking to me, I'll be honest, baby, I don't give a fuck if a racist white person has to eat. I don't. Cause you, especially if you the type that want to call people hardy yards, you could starve. Truly,
it's a hard contradiction. It is, and that's why I said I feel that way too. Like I would never be on the front lines to poor white racist people, but at the end of the day, we're doing that. I don't hate white people. Doing that even when we're not. That's the thing. We're doing that even when we think we're not. When we are saying when we're fighting for universal health care, that is universal. Yeah. That's not just for your people. So it's like we're doing it even though we are trying not to. That's why I'm like, we should, that video in and of itself, y'all trying to, just because you thought she was a Trump supporter, it bit y'all in the ass. But I'm glad it worked out like that because it made you sit back and be like, now see why you need to shut the fuck up sometimes? Sometimes I just need to shut the fuck up.
Sometimes we just need to shut up. And that's the other thing, getting to the point where it's like, you know what? I don't hate white people. I'm not in a community with a whole bunch of white people, and I have my white people. Shout out to my godmother. She is a white woman. I love my white people. I have white creators who I have vetted and I'm mutuals with and I like, and they seem to be on the right track, right? I'm not for anyone who's not for me. Point blank, period. And I'm okay with saying that. I've sat in that. And that's why when you label yourself under these groups, it's much like what we talked about. When you label yourself an activist on social media, you can't laugh at all, girl. It is hard to laugh. It's hard to laugh. When you label yourself with the left, you're going to have to sit in that. So that's why I just implore everyone, really sit and think about like what you believe. Like that's something that we all need to do. Like, because again, all we can do right now is in this moment, what is going to benefit me? And then what is going to allow me to treat the people next to me? Because the thing about it is, if most Black people, you're not you're in community with racist white people, you know what I'm saying? But they're not the person sitting next to you. I think the best rule of thumb, and if we all did this, the world would be a better place. If we all did what I'm about to say we would have the universal health care without having to figure out everyone's isms. Because look to what's best for me, what's best to the person to your left, what's best for the person to your right, and then that's what you do. And if everyone does that, it's going to offshoot. Now the world is doing what's best for everybody. That's all you could do.
Let's spin it.
We're going to take a break.
And we're back.
So we're about to get into our segment, Spin It, where we give you guys advice, a PR spin on your salacious, messy, low-down situations. Now, here is a disclaimer. Jamila and I are not PR professionals. We simply just studied it in college, and we love the hustle in the game. So don't forget to send your messy-ass shit to @unhingedandimmoral@gmail.com.
And also, last thing, remember to send your ages, the ages of the people involved, because that changes the advice. All right, let's get into it. So this is super fun because we actually have an update.
Our first update.
An update.
So just so everyone knows, this episode, she was dealing with CJ. CJ went ghost, and we were giving her advice on how to kind of navigate that. She wanted to like hit him up, and we were like, no, don't hit him up. Or he had started slowing down the text, like all the things that happen when a nigga's trying to pull back, right? But and they weren't together, but they had been messing with each other for a minute, but it wasn't official, and he started pulling back. So it was like, no, baby, he got a girlfriend, and she was feeling a way about it, but she didn't want to seem like she was feeling a way about it. So yeah.
This is super exciting. And I have not read this, so let's get straight into it. Hey y'all, I just wanted to give an update on my situationship, CJ. The episode didn't drop in time for me to see my spin it, so I just freestyled it. He did get a girlfriend, stopped sharing his location, and they went all the way ghost. I didn't text or call, but I just removed him on everything. I didn't block. It very well may make me look bothered, but I just could not see that shit on my timeline. I got back in the gym, lost 30 pounds, made some more money, 3 new job offers, and added a few more niggas to the roster. Right. One of which being a homeboy of his. On accident, of course. I don't know how close they are, and I'm not going to bring it up unless he asks me about him, I guess. I'm a little nervous about that part. I don't even be homie hopping for real. I usually move. I usually just move to people that wouldn't be in the same vicinity because I hate folks knowing what I got going on, had going on. Anyways, when I come out of the hibernation winter, I'm back outside. The B&Bs are paid for. The flights are booked. I thought at this point in time, it would be like, damn, I didn't even really like him. That's what usually happens after being a little delusional. But unfortunately, I did like him. Life is full of things we can't have, but I can always have money in my account and a trip coming up. This is like calling in at the radio station. I'm with it. I got a lot of 20s left, and I will be using y'all as a resource. Love y'all bad. Mwah.
Because what we say, you get 5 niggas, you lose 1 nigga, you get another one. And let me tell you why you still hung up on him. I remember this letter. You're hung up on him because your mind tricks you into the what if.
You knew.
Into the, we always want what we can't have. You're not actually hung up on him. I just want you to know that. Yep. I go through that a lot. Yep. I literally, mind you, this is my problem. This is my fatal flaw. I'll just like a nigga regularly. And then, but it's like you like a nigga who was like, oh no, I see the potential. That's why I like you. And then it doesn't work out. And all of a sudden it's like, it's like I rewrite history in my head. Like, I thought I didn't like you this much.
Actually, I didn't like
what I'm saying? Like, why
that happens all the time.
Why am I feeling like I liked you way more than I did when I was seeing you all the time?
Yeah. Because it's fun. And you're
fine.
All the time. And so you
once
just
it gets hot and you start going outside, girl, whatever. And fuck his homeboy. But that doesn't matter. He got a girlfriend.
What did we tell you, sister? We told you that nigga had a bitch. We told you there's only 2 reasons why a nigga gets weird: a bitch or broke.
Only 2.
A bitch or broke.
Anything else is a lie. Get your life together.
They're liars. And so I'm so glad that you were able to kind of see that. And like you said, you were kind of removed from everything. You moved on. You got a new nigga. You got a new job. That's
and honestly,
great.
You're not bothered. Let me tell you something. As someone who does that same thing, let me tell you, oh, girl.
But I can understand you kind of seeing it and being like, all right,
no,
nigga,
you
like,
blocked
okay.
him. Well, what's going to happen
annoying.
when they break up? He going to follow you back.
They're going to come right back.
I'm just telling you, I do that because I don't want to see that shit.
And that's when you'll really get your one up.
The gap.
You didn't even really do your big one yet. When he leave that bitch, and no shade to her, but when he leave that bitch and he come back to you,
he gonna follow
and
you
that's
back
when
right
you
away,
can leave that nigga alone. That's when you really be
that's
like,
why you don't block him. That's why you don't
is
block
the most fulfilling.
Very fulfilling.
No, nigga.
Yeah.
It's
or maybe
so
you
much
fuck
fun.
him because that's what I did. I just fucked him and walked away.
Oh, you can do that too.
Because he good at what he do or whatever.
But you're gonna get that control back, and that's the funnest part.
Love that.
You have the ability, the authority to be like yes or no, and do what you want with that information.
This big fat boss bitch pussy.
Thank you for the update. I need. Whoa. Oh God. Oh.
Too much.
Mecca really was feeling that.
I get.
We can honestly go straight into the comments.
You a little
that
flustered.
was really good.
It wasn't.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and read some of y'all's comments that y'all have left us. Remember to always leave your thoughts because we really love reading them on here, but also outside of here because it really helps us let us know what we can do better or what y'all like, what y'all didn't like, all the things. Send us your thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the comments from Apple. Almost 23-year-old figuring out life. This is from Sada Ayana. I just graduated from school in August and I moved to Houston for a job with the city. Hey. I'm still figuring out things for myself, and this podcast helps me figure things out I want and don't want for myself as a young woman navigating life. I love you both. Look forward to the podcast every Thursday. Thank you so much, and congratulations and good luck on your new life, girl.
Fun, because that 20 first out of year 10. in Houston, it's fun as fuck.
20 out of 10, The Queen 2017. Saw the clip about Dr. Sebi and knew this was my kind of podcast. Oh, well, exactly. Unhinged, but smart and hilarious. This is GFCU Go 8, whatever. You know that's a weird name, baby. I love Thursdays. You guys remind me of my daughter and her girlfriends. Yes, I am old, but young at heart. You guys are so down to earth. Please always keep the energy. Thank you so much, Auntie.
I've got the Spotify questions or the Spotify comments this week, and NC313 said, hey guys, sending my love from Connecticut. I also can't deal with insecure men, and I've only had one real relationship at 17. She's 24 now. Where he was super jealous of me, implied I got awards because I'm Black and he was South Asian.
Girl.
And that's why we don't have affirmative action now. And you guys made me realize that I don't need to rush love. Thank you guys for feeling like my big sisters. Love the pod. Oh my God, girl. I love you too. Mello said, Lord God, not in the group chat. In the group chat, sister.
Yeah.
Taylon Green 2125 said, Mecca and Jamila really told me exactly what I needed to hear today. I was contemplating cutting off a man for pushing one of my small boundaries, and they gave me the confirmation I needed. Be a strict ass bitch. And to everyone who, Jamila posted her clip and said, where they at? Where they at? My sisters are suffering. My sisters are suffering, and it's because you aren't strict enough. Now, will you be lonely a little bit? Yes, but learn to live in that solitude. You're lonely anyway. You're lonely and getting dogged out. So be lonely and don't get dogged out. Ugh, gonna make me fucking get really strict in here. Sorry. I got so excited I scrolled past where I was supposed to be. Michaela said, I wish I sent in a spin it because it would have gone so well with this episode. I feel like I relate to what y'all are talking about so deeply, but I'm wrapped up in my current relationship because we have a child together and our lives are intertwined. But man, oh man, I know what to do next time I'm single. Girl, if you don't leave that motherfucking nigga right now, you can be single today.
You don't need no spinach.
You don't need no spinach. That's just a simple
spinach.
Leave him today and not tomorrow. Bree said he is from Jackson, Mississippi, Kimi Casanova, which is something we found, which is so crazy. We came back from Jackson, met up with Akeem, and then found out after he didn't tell us he was from Jackson. Y'all did. And people in the comments were like, oh, is this because you were just in Jackson? I said, no, we were just.
Yeah, it just kind of happened that way.
And then they said, D, the voice switching was giving Alicia Keys, you don't know my name.
Exactly. From the waitress from 39th and Lennox. Yeah, the one with the braid. Exactly. All right, let me get into these YouTube comments, y'all. This is from JV Goddess. Jamila's take on the challenge of dating when your dad is such a high standard for what a man should be is so real. Like, it's not about lacking self-confidence or thinking you're unworthy of that kind of relationship. It's just that so many of these guys don't measure up. So why would I settle or put that pressure on you, LMAO? I don't know, but I get what she was trying to say. Thank you, sister. You get me. Because it's hard. It's like,
shout out to the good daddies. Shout out to the good fathers.
At Dari Juku, Mecca, when she found out that lady was married, I'm crying. Because I'm looking at her like, bro, what is your
I was like, why are you looking at me like that?
Everybody in the comments like, no. I was like, Mecca, I don't know. At Devin Whiten 570. Today's spin it was so motherfucking good. Y'all had me talking to y'all through the phone. LOL. Now that one was so funny. At Taylor B Beauty. Separation is the key word here. Brianna messing with that buddy husband. Hello. At Big Franco, I love that you both are prioritizing yourselves over marriage. When it comes, but enjoy your freedom and careers. Exactly.
Snaps.
At Alexa Y7M, I was like, damn, Mecca, you're mad mature. Then you realized she was married. I was like, oh, okay. At Radiant Rocks, I love y'all down. This is my favorite podcast these days. I make sure to tune in every week. I am crying watching Mecca completely switch up her spinning advice once she got the details straight up about them being married. Yes.
It was so...
Y'all are too funny.
I just did. I really... you know what? And they're right. I didn't listen to that. When you said separated, I should have really took that. I should have took that
separated.
And held on to that. I did not. I thought that was a boyfriend, a house. That was a lease.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was a home. Lock and key.
And you send us an update too, Angela. I want to know what the hell Brianna and Catherine got into. Because that was some bullshit.
Please, we love the update. Yeah. I'm glad we got an update today. That was so fun and love that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another amazing episode of Unhinged Immoral. You know where to catch us every single Thursday like clockwork. But beyond that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Patreon for a little extra nugget here and there, because we have so many great interviews with some of your favorite creators on our Patreon, as well as our movie and show reviews. The Insecure review is coming soon.
Y'all been really busy.
We had a lot going on. Okay? We had a lot going on. Trust me. And another cute little update. We are actively in the planning stages of our live show.
That's not what I thought she was going to say. I thought she was going to say, let's be in Mobile. In a couple weeks from Mardi Gras.
Oh, yes. We will be in Mobile for Mardi Gras. My daddy hometown. I cannot wait. I love Mobile. It'll be very fun. So, yeah, I know, some of my New Orleans fans, y'all may not be.
Where's it popping at Mobile, Alabama? Let us know something.
But it's going to be fun. We'll be there the 27th through the 3rd to have a good, wholesome Mardi Gras time. So I can't wait to connect with y'all.
And I will be at the cook-off, the rodeo, the first night, the opening. I had to change my whole trip around, child. I bought that flight and realized I'm not missing the first night of the rodeo cook-off. I was texting Jamila like, okay, well, I just have to meet you in Mobile. So I'll drive back to Atlanta with you.
Yes, but we're going to have a good old time. I can't wait. I'm going to be with my family as well. So y'all know, Southern girl for real.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week.
See y'all later. Unhinged and Immoral is hosted by Jamila Bell and Mecca.
Produced by Melisa D. Monts and Diamond MPrint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Llorens.
Production assistant by Melanie D. Watson.
Music by Audie and Brooklyn Billionaires.
And graphics by Claudia Choi.